remember the joy of opening up a Happy Meal and then you take a look inside and there's a Mictorin? And not just any kind of Mictorin, it's a Bionicle Lego Matorin. That was joy. But maybe you weren't alive for then. And maybe you remember walking into the Lego shop and seeing, the brand new Hero Factory, the brand new Bionicle sets are out, and I'm gonna buy one, and it's gonna be a good time. That is joy. But you know what the joy is today? The joy is being able to dive back on into some Bionicle stuff and creating some cool stuff with it. And we're going to capture that joy today in the Bionicle Inspiration series. Welcome to today's episode. Today we're focusing on a really cool theme that one Gringat, my good friend Gringat, he suggested this theme to me and he said, hey, what about the idea of doing set combinations? Because it's something he does, something a couple other people do, and it's a really great idea. So I'll touch upon what I mean by set combinations. So you may or may not remember that some of the older Bionicle sets and even some of the more recent Bionicle sets had combo models. And basically what that meant is you buy a certain number of sets and you use just those pieces and you can make a larger, cooler model that uses the pieces across 3 different sets. Yes, sometimes the instructions for these guys came with the instructions in the set. Sometimes you had to go online to look up those instructions. You can still find those instructions online today as well. And I think it was a really cool concept. And honestly, it's something that, yes, you could follow the instructions for them online to make the official combo models, but there's no reason you couldn't make your own custom combo models. And so that's what we're going to look at today. All of the mocks that you see in today's episode are made exclusively using pieces from a select number of sets. And so heck, if you've got those exact sets at home, you could easily recreate what they made because you already have those pieces. You know, that's an excuse I hear a lot is, oh, I'd love to build that, but I don't have the pieces. Well, why not grab 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or more Lego sets and just using those pieces, see what you can make. Because sometimes it can force you to do different things that you might not have done otherwise. It can force you to look at pieces in different ways as you have to force in those pieces into this design because you're just using those parts. So let's see what people do in these interesting, different circumstances. And we'll see what we learn, and hopefully you can be inspired to make some of your own set combinations using the sets that you might have bought. So the first mock that we've got today is called Mocking About Plantimus by Monarth. So Monarth does a whole sort of series of mocks called Mocking About. Of course, that's the play on the word mock and, you know, messing about, mocking about, that kind of thing. It's a fun concept, and he does it a lot with a whole bunch of different Bionicle sets. He's got a folder here of about 22 different combinations there that he's done. And yes, if you want to take a deeper look into some of the other ones he's done, there's a lot there. But let's focus on this one for now. So Plantimus, of course, is a little bit inspired by Venusaur, the Pokemon. And just starting that off, take a look at some Pokemon designs. Nowadays, there's over like 800 Pokemon. I'm sure by the time this episode's released, there'll be 1,000 more. But take a look at some Pokemon designs. A lot of them are really, really fantastic looking humanoid or animal-like designs, and you could easily translate concepts or ideas from that sort of stuff into a Bionicle character or creature. And then you've got over 800 different things to look at and get ideas from there. So definitely a good inspiration point there. But of course, this is the set combination episode, so what sets were combined to make this fantastic Venusaur-inspired mock? Well, there was the Hero Factory theme called Invasion from Below, where these like kaiju-like monsters were attacking the heroes in their cool mech suits. And Monarth took every single Invasion from Below beast, so all the sort of bad guy sets, and he combined them into this one big fantastic creature. He did say that a lot of the parts that did come in those sets, because there was a fair few of them, a lot of those pieces were left over, and so he felt like he might have kind of cheated the concept of combining a set here because so much was left over. But it's still besides the point, you know? That's the way this challenge works. Either you use all the pieces, you only use some, or you use barely any, but you're still able to make something. And that's the point, isn't it? You want to make something. It doesn't matter if you strictly used every single piece or not. But depends how you want to do this funky challenge here. It's up to you. Regardless, though, some really clever part usages here, and overall just a really beautiful kind of silhouette to this mock. I love the beautiful kind of plant that's coming out of its back here, using these kind of egg plant pieces that came with the Invasion from Below sets. These eggs were kind of made to house the little jumper beast guys, and they kind of burst open and they came out, or you could kind of imprison some of the heroes inside there. They're really cool pieces, and they did have this beautiful kind of plant-like look to them. So it's awesome seeing them here being used as this funky kind of wildflower that, again, is very similar to Venusaur, but it also just looks nice. It's a really funky concept, and man, those pieces are really helpful and really cool. So if you've got them, play around with them, see what you can envision with them. Taking a look at the front legs here, I love the fact that he's kind of doubled up like that, using sort of 2 Hero Factory bone and shell kind of things there to form that front leg. And the way that that's done, it helps just kind of buff it out a little bit more. And it also does make it a lot more stable as well, because you've got multiple connection points there to form that limb and to have it be able to support the weight on top. So that's always something to consider. Sets like Black Phantom and a few other actual official Hero Factory sets would do that, where they kind of double up on using Hero Factory bone pieces there to kind of get a really strong and sturdy leg or arm or something. So that's always something that's worth considering doing, is really buffing out a leg or an arm just so that you can support the weight, and also just adding a whole nother layer of Hero Factory bone there just to buff it out a little bit more. But overall, I think this mock looks fantastic. It's a really beautiful and unique aesthetic, but it's funny how unique this turtle with a plant on its back concept is. I can't say I've ever really seen a Bionicle that kind of focuses on that. But like I said, as unique as it is, it's been done before in Pokemon. And that doesn't make it bad because it's a concept that's been done before. By all means, recycle stuff that's been done before, you know. So much great art is taking something that's been done before and reimagining it in a new light. That's always some of the best stuff you can do. So 100% do stuff like that. Look to things for inspiration and see what you can copy, see what you can adapt, see how you can make it your own, and see what awesome stuff you create as a result. So yeah, fantastic work by Monarch here. A really nice set combination. Let's move on to the next one. And this is two mocks. It's kind of a little bit of a series to some degree here. These are mocks by Gringat the Repugnant, and they are Sentrakh and the Shadowed One. So, these are recreations from some original combo models that were made in 2005. And these sets use pieces from Sidorak and Kitongu, I believe. No, Sidorak and Kitongu was specifically just the sets used to make Sentrakh. And for the Shadowed One here, these were just used from parts from Rudaka and Kitongu, respectively. So, awesome. These were two combo models, like I said, that were actual official combo models that I think you had to go online for downloading those instructions, and just using those parts, you could make these awesome canon characters. That was basically the only way to make them. So it's awesome. But what Gringat has done here is he's done his own sort of MOV, or my own version, as you will, and adapted them. He's reimagined them and added his own flair to them, which I think is great because Gringat's a fantastic builder, and he's kind of managed to take some of the weaker concepts with those combo models and fix some of the problems. So for example, let's start off here looking at Sentrakh. So the legs have been slightly modified, but the feet have been very much modified here. And also the torso seems to have been tidied up a little bit as well. And I like that. The original version, it did seem to have a few gaps, and kind of just the way the head design looks. I remember as a kid, I didn't think this mock had a head. I thought the head was the kind of Kitongu Borok shield bit at the top. I didn't get that the mouth was sort of open and kind of roaring almost there in the image. So I never ended up making this guy because I was kind of like, he looks weird. But obviously the way Gringat's done it, the mouth is closed, and he has actually straight up just built the head there. But he's kind of tidied up some areas and made things just a little bit more prominent. He's kind of played with the colors a little bit and focused them in certain areas so that everything's a bit more clear. You know, like I was saying before, it was kind of difficult to know where the head was or where the arms were, and blah, 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 and just some slight little modifications here. Not doing a huge amount. Again, just still sticking to just the pieces from those two sets, Sidorak and Kitongu. Just some slight modifications there, and already this character looks a lot cooler, and things are just more clear. So yeah, I very much prefer Gringat's version to the original version, but that's my personal preference. You might disagree with me, and that's okay. But on the subject of revamping or doing your own version of an official combo model, maybe you were like me and you didn't always build those combo models just because you were like, no, I like the set, I want to keep it built. Maybe now's the time to go back and revisit them. You know, the instructions are still out there. If you've still got those pieces, why not give it a go? You know, it could almost be like you're getting a new Bionicle toy, even though we don't have any more Bionicle these days. It might feel like you're getting a brand new toy and playing with a brand new character. Or, you know, like the whole point of this episode, make your own set combinations, see what you can come up with. And I know both Gringat and Monarch very much like to do the challenge of just using these pieces, what can I make? But there's no reason that you couldn't follow that challenge and just build with the pieces that came in certain sets, but then also every so often go, you know what, I'm actually just going to add this piece or this piece as well. And, you know, maybe you'd look at the Shadowed One here and you'd go, man, this guy would have really benefited from some CCBS pieces. So you add a little bit of CCBS flair to this combo model, just to give it a little bit of new life with some updated pieces and updated techniques. Nothing wrong with doing that. There's all sorts of possibilities in this set combination themed episode, so many possibilities that you can try at home. But let's talk about the shadowed one here, since we were focusing a bit more on the other one. I love that Gringat fixed the weird funky third leg on this guy. Taking a look at the original shadowed one here, it looks pretty cool. Again, it's quite similar to what Gringat's done. But I've had so many debates with people about whether or not the shadowed one is a character with 3 legs, or if that's a tail. Because that third leg is different to the other 2 legs, but people are like, no, it's a tripod. He's got 3 legs. And I'm there going like, no, he doesn't. He's some cool Anubis guy with 2 legs. And they're like, nah. So personally, again, I prefer what Gringat's done here, making it look much more like a tail. And again, just tidying certain things up, like the torso there doesn't have as many gaps as the original one seemed to have had. And, you know, a few other things here and there, and he's just tidied it up. He's made it look more refined. And it was funny, I actually scrolled down to the comments on this, and turns out I commented on it. And my response was, oof, always loved the shadowed one. Fantastic work here, man. Cool to see how clean and smooth the design looks using no CCBS pieces. Nice stuff. That was 3 months, that comment was 3 months ago. Ben has changed so much in 3 months. I really haven't, because I still agree with that. I love how much Gringat has adapted this set to look a lot more smooth and sleek. Everything's a lot more compact and refined. And yeah, doesn't use any CCBS pieces, which that's kind of just a trait of using CCBS pieces, as things look refined and whole and put together, all that sort of stuff. So I like that that's how he's adapted this character and adapted this set combination here. It's really nice. So that's some awesome stuff here from Gringat, and easily something you could do yourself. Now let's jump on to another mock here. This is by Brick Brickelson. That's a good name, by the way. I never really comment on people's names, but I like that. Brick Brickelson. Hey, my name is Brick Brickelson. Welcome to the show. And this is called Bionicle Stone Combiner. So this guy combines 3 sets, and they are 70779 Protector of Stone, 70785 Pohatu, and 70794 Skull Scorpio. Scorpio? And I think he's done a really good job of managing to combine all these pieces into this funky, very different character to those 3 sets there. And again, really kind of random, three randomly picked sets. But it still works, you know, you got some cool pieces to play with. You got a lot of trans yellow too, which is nice. And I think this mock has very much taken advantage of that. There's some really nice color layering here, focusing all of that trans yellow there onto the torso, and putting a couple little bits of it in some other places there. But it creates a really interesting look. It kind of looks like he's got this padded armor that's made out of these trans. I said trans yellow, didn't I? Trans green. Man, ever since I was a kid, I always called that trans yellow, and I know it's not, because I know what trans yellow looks like. It's not that color. But that's habitual, I'm sorry. Regardless though, a great idea to get these 3 sets that naturally just have a lot of trans yellow in them, and then use that to your advantage. Allow that to kind of really inform this unique character that very much focuses on trans yellow. I think that's just a clever use of pieces, you know? It's not necessarily an NPU, you know, using pieces in a really unique way, but it's just using your pieces, just using them really cleverly and just building smart. You know, I feel like there's a difference between building and building smart. You know, it's how you use your pieces versus what you're using them for, you know? If I was to articulate that a bit more, because I don't know how much that made sense there. You know, we look at this mock here, and because there was so much trans yellow, he's going, okay, I have that to work with, so let's do a design that really heavily focuses on that. It almost looks like he's got this armor on top that's made out of trans green. I said it again, my bad. But yeah, building smart, just taking advantage of what you've got and using it to your advantage in some way. I think that's clever, and it's something I've never really touched upon before. I'm kind of just discovering it as I'm talking now, really. Yet it's something that kind of anyone can do. It's just taking advantage of what you have. You know, I've said it before to people who go, oh, I'd love to build that, but I don't have the pieces. And then often my response to that is, well, use what you've got. Let that inform what you build. You know, you may not have a huge selection. Well, use that to your advantage. Challenge yourself. Go, okay, just using these pieces, what can I build? I guess that's building smart versus just building or building cleverly or whatever. Yeah. I also love how he's used the Skull Scorpio legs here for this really interesting, sinister kind of back ornament design thing here. You know, practically, I don't think this has anything. It's more just, Jonathan, I'm going to look evil today, so I need to give myself some cool back spikes so all the boys will go, oh, he's scary. But it looks cool, you know? Practically, it doesn't serve anything, but it looks nice, you know? I'd never be afraid to do that on a mock. Just add something cool to it that, even though, you know, it doesn't have any practical use, it just looks nice. It's the Incredibles thing of, like, don't wear capes because it's a liability and it's a hazard. It's an occupational health and safety risk. But you look so cool with them on, you know? So do that. Add some funky, weird back spikes here that make you look sinister and awesome. And that's cool. And a great use of those pieces that came on Skull Scorpio here. Now let's move on to the next mark here by Poor Disadvantage, and this is called Skull Valkyrie. And ironically, this uses pieces from Pahatu, Nilku, the Protector of Stone, Skull Scorpio, and yeah, the exact same sets as the last one. And I love seeing the difference between the two. They look so different, but yet it's the exact same pieces. How cool is that? That's exactly what I was talking about before of building smart. Use the pieces that you've got to your advantage. Play to your own strengths. A lot of the kind of design styles in this are very similar to some of the other things that Poor Disadvantage has built, so he's kind of focusing in on what he's good at. And of course that's very different to Mr. Brick Brickelson, but he's playing to his strengths. And that's smart building. I like that a lot. Like I said, I'm discovering this smart building thing as I'm talking here. I don't know if it's making much sense, but maybe we'll talk about it more in future episodes and we'll explore that a bit more. Besides the point though, how cool is that? Getting the exact same sets, exact same different pieces, but making an entirely different mark. We even kind of look at the wings here, how these wings can kind of flow down like that around his feet or kind of go up like that as actual wings. It's quite a similar concept to what we were saying before of this sort of ornate, sinister detailing that doesn't necessarily serve a purpose, but just looks really cool. And I guess here you could argue it's wings, so it does have some purpose. But even still, it's a very similar concept to what we saw before, but again, slightly different. And it's only just some subtle changes that really influence that and change that. I love seeing that. That's awesome. Also, this mark has some fantastic color layering, focusing a lot of the trans yellow there in some certain areas, and having all the silver always kind of be on top of that. But then also focusing in that Pahatu kind of earth orange color. I forget the official name for that part, but focusing all of that there to the sort of top of the torso, so that all that's kind of concentrated in one spot. And then you can kind of play with that transition from that earth orange color into the trans green. So that it kind of flows very nicely. Specifically the transition of those two colors that is on the Protector mask there. You're able to kind of play off of that so that you can transition that color into the next. And yeah, it's nice. I love too that the last mock didn't use any of those earth pieces that came on the Protector and Pahatu. As like I was saying before, you don't always need to use every single piece. You can still make a fantastic mock and leave out some of the major stuff. But one of the things that I love that this uses is the skull spiders and having them basically form these really awesome looking hands, and the fact that the blue there is just concentrated on the arms, so it doesn't necessarily look out of place. It kind of just looks like he's got some fancy gauntlets on or something. It's really, really nice. And a great way of using those skull spiders too. I've not necessarily seen them being used before as actual hands, but it's a nice design. So yeah, a fantastic mock, and I can't get over how cool it is, how exact same sets in both of these guys here. And I don't even know if that was deliberate. I don't see anything in the description here, unless I'm just not looking hard enough, that says both him and Brick Brickelson did the exact same challenge and, were facing each other in some kind of mock-off or something. But I love that. Awesome to see the difference between basically the exact same thing. Awesome. Second last mock here, this is by Railblade and is called Protector Nui. So this is a combiner of all 6 of the Protector sets, not including the Skull Spiders. And I think that's super, super rad. To me, this very much has a sort of Devastator Transformers combiner sort of flair to it. That each limb is this different color and kind of focuses on what they originally looked like. And it very much looks like all 6 of them did like Captain Planet and by our powers combined and just fused into this one super powerful, awesome character. And that could be something fun that you do. Maybe you got an awesome Bionicle storyline and you want these 2 characters or a bunch of characters to fuse together and make this super powerful Megazord guy. And you could do that. Just use the pieces from those guys and make them into this one big massive Titan mock. And it could have some principles like this of different colored limbs that represent the original things that they were built off of. And a cool core like that has all the different colors on it as well. And yeah, it's nice. A lot of principles from other combiner stuff that you might see from other forms of media. And yeah, Transformers is a great example of that. So I like that. It's quite a different take on combining, not actually just simply using all the pieces and putting it into one big thing. It's honoring what the original sets were and putting it into a larger model. And it very much actually looks like they combine into one thing. So I like that. And also, if you really like this, check the links in the description to this guy here. There are actually instructions. He's got a link there over on Flickr. You can build this guy for yourself if you so please. That's pretty good. The final mock today. This is another one by Monarth. And the reason I just wanted to put Monarth in here again is because he's done so much of this. Be sure to check out his mocking about thing here on Mock Pages, because he's kind of the king of this. If you really want to kind of study up even more about set combining and set combinations, Monoth's your man. Anyway, this is called Mocking About Surge Rogue Machine. And this simply just uses pieces from the set called Surge and Rocker Combat Machine. And so I like that idea too. Maybe you don't even need 2 or 3 different sets. You might be watching this episode and you'd be like, I know, Cossy, this sounds like a great idea, but I only have 1 set. That's okay. Monoth only used 1 set here and he still made a fantastic looking mech just using the pieces in this set. And I love the fact too that he used kind of a larger set as well because, you know, it's a great idea to do that. Get a set that has a lot of pieces in it and then you have even more possibilities to play with those parts and reimagine it in some way. More pieces, more possibilities, as they say. No one actually says that. I made that up, but maybe they'll start saying it now. Maybe they'll start saying it now. You can't see it, but I'm looking wistfully off into the distance. Anyway, great mock. I really, really like this. I think it's just, I don't know, there's not too much to say about it. You know, really cool looking guns, really nice frame to it, and looks like a really awesome mech machine here, and you know, kind of has elements of some of the other mechs that you saw in Invasion from below. It's just really cool. And even cooler that it's just simply taking the pieces from 1 set and making them look even cooler. So really nice work, Monoth. And nice work to all the builders in today's episode. This has been a whole bunch of set combinations. And big thanks as well to Gringat for suggesting this theme and also providing a little bit for it. I always appreciate that. You know, it's a lot easier to do a specific theme that you might be after, or to put your mock in an episode if you give me a theme and you give me some other ideas for what could go in that theme. You know, it does help sometimes, so I very much appreciate that, good sir. Speaking of good sirs, be sure to check the links in the description to the mocks that you saw in today's episode and check out some of the other stuff they've done. There's some talented people, and their links are right there. Give them some love. Also, links in my description will also be to my own social media platforms. You can check that out if you want to see what I've got going on. Maybe I'll do a set combination or 2 and you can check it out there. Who knows? Also, while you're there, you'll see this email that's currently appearing on your screen. It is the submission email. If you want to put your own mocks in the show, send me some pictures, send me some information, whatever you think is worth putting in that email, send it to me, and one day it'll be featured on the show. Pretty cool. That's it for this set combination episode. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you're going to pick up some sets and combine them and make something cool. Happy building. Bye for now.